Hey there everybody, welcome back to another one of my budgeting videos. This is going to be the budgeting video for my paycheck from November the 1st, which was on Friday. It is currently November the 3rd, Sunday. I like to get my budget done on the actual day of payday on the Friday, but it doesn't always happen. So in my world, as long as I get it done on the weekend of payday, I am not late. So, you know, I'm not late even though it's 8:23 in the evening on Sunday. We're still on the weekend. Let's just dive into it, I suppose. I have a note to myself from last paycheck budgeting day that my transportation cash envelope, sinking fund, cash envelope. Sorry, I'm not with it today. My cash envelope for transportation owes my checking account $9.15. Now, I do a rough draft of my budget before I sit down and do this on camera because math, and I did not actually account for that when I was doing that, so I will attempt to remember to do that while I'm writing it all out now. Here is my calendar. I did a monthly setup video attempting to do sticker planning. I don't know how well it's going to turn out, but I tried. But in that video, while I had filled out the numbers on the calendar, I hadn't filled out like the actual things due and the different dates and whatnot. So I just wanted to show you that really quickly. So I have rent, SUV payments, 3 paydays this month, which is great. A Neo bill, line of credit due. I had to guess on the Visa due date because it hasn't switched over to the new billing cycle yet. So it still shows all the information from last month. But usually the Visa, I kind of looked at it and it tends to end up being due really close to the end of the month. So I guessed the 28th. I'm probably off by a couple days back or forth, but it gives the rough idea. There is sort of a balance doing on my Visa right now. I did some more Christmas shopping, so I have a Christmas sinking fund, so that's fine. I have the money for that, and my tenant insurance renewed and automatically charged to this credit card, but it's okay because I have a sinking fund for that as well. But everything is still currently showing as pending. I think right now it shows I owe like $20 something, but there's, because the tenant insurance is over $300, and then there's the various Christmas shopping and whatnot that I did. So I'm going to wait this time. I'm going to be patient, and I'm going to wait until all of the charges are out of pending and are actually officially charges on the card, because whenever I try to pay in advance to stay ahead of the game, I miscalculate something somewhere and then I end up overpaying or underpaying and just getting very confused with the math. You have all witnessed it. So there is a due date that I don't know yet because, like I said, the billing cycle hasn't switched over, and there will be an amount, but I don't know that either. So I'm just leaving this as a guesstimate for the day, and once everything is done pending, I might I'm assuming it'll get out, all the charges will get out of the pending stage somewhere in this week, but I may just wait until next payday to sit down and do all of the math and sort it out, because it's not going to hurt it. It's not going to, it'll be done in plenty of time before the billing cycle is over. So I don't know. I mean, we'll see. I have a busy week coming up, but I'll keep an eye on it. My Neo bill is quite high at $97.71, and I went back through all the charges on the card because I was seriously, but that is right. But this should be the last time that it's that high. If you watched the video that I did talking about how I sort of managed to save, I think it's $989. It's really more I found $989 in my budget, but whatever. I already labeled and named the video. It's out there in the world. I have a recurring charge that goes onto this card that I have since canceled, but I didn't cancel it in time before the most recent charge went on the card. So that charge is 40 something, I'm blanking on the exact amount right now, 42.80 or something like that. So that will make a significant difference to the Neo card balance. I don't run a balance on this card. This isn't part of what I consider my debt to pay off. This card only gets charges on it that are recurring charges monthly, that I would rather them go onto a card and earn me some points than come out of my checking account. I would find that much harder to keep track of. So it's things like my donations to the food bank, my Apple, Netflix, Disney Plus, things like that. So it's not a balance that I'm having to get down. The $97.71 is the full amount that I owe on that card, and I will pay off that full amount this paycheck, and there's never a running balance with that. So I just wanted to clear that up because I think some people wonder that maybe this is like a debt that I'm paying off the same way I'm trying to pay off the line of credit. It's not something that holds a balance. There are charges that go on it, and so I'm making a payment on it every paycheck, but that's because just the way the charging cycles for the various recurring charges that I have are. So I'd rather kind of have them spread out than have all of them happen on one paycheck and then the rest of the time I don't have to pay anything. To me, that works out better. So yes, these are the various bills and whatnot. I don't have my credit card written on here anywhere because I automatically, every paycheck, put $20 onto my credit card regardless. It just keeps me ahead of the game. So I actually have a credit for my credit card, or a credit for my cell phone bill right now. Like I don't owe, they don't owe me, but do you know what I mean? Like I've overpaid to them, but it's easier for me to stay ahead of them because I find that their bills always come out and then I'm always uncertain about, like they're not clear to me when I read them, like when they're due and how much, and I was always feeling like I was playing catch up. So I just decided $60 every paycheck means that I am overpaying a little bit every month, but I'd rather be doing that and have a credit sitting on my account with them than be accidentally underpaying or not paying in enough time and, you know, potentially having that like affect like my credit or like my good standing with the cell phone company, you know, stuff like that, grown up stuff. So I'm just gonna move that. I don't use these pages for day-to-day spending tracking. I use them for actually writing out the budget. So that is what we will get to doing. So the November 1st, 2024 paycheck. My balance currently is $2,572.61 in my checking account. So I'm pulling out $89.01 for Striker. That's his money. Striker is my cat, and he has a cash envelope. He actually, well, I mean, he has one, but it's sort of split. So he has a digital cash envelope and an actual physical cash envelope. And yeah, so this, like, I keep his digital money just sitting in the checking account. I just subtract it out when I'm doing my budget so that I don't accidentally spend it on like the rest of the budget. It's quite a bit lower than what he normally has sitting in the account, but it's because I had to do a bunch of purchases for things for him. So like normally I don't touch his money that much. He doesn't have that many expenses and it kind of builds and builds, and I was starting to contemplate maybe I should be doing something else with the money, like keeping some for him still, but putting some of it into like more long-term savings maybe or something. And then a large expense came around that is for him. So it kind of worked out that I had the money sitting there. And I also have what I call a buffer. I had a check from the insurance company. I was in a car accident, and then my mom also lent me some money. And so it's sitting, the money from the check and the money from my mom is sitting in this account, and I use it to go towards my sinking funds and my cash envelopes. So why did I just do that? So I deduct that out. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. I deduct that out of the regular part of the budget because the thing that I aim for when I'm doing the budget is to pay all of my bills and whatnot from my paycheck, not touching the buffer and using the buffer strictly for the cash envelopes and the sinking funds. Does that always happen? It has been, but as of this budget, it no longer does. So yay. That's a thing that you get to look forward to seeing me struggle with in a couple minutes. But I pull out the buffer because the money lives in this account, but I don't want to accidentally use it when I'm paying the rest of the budget. For me, it helps me to have it in a separate column on its own so that I can just sort of see it more easily and see how I'm spending it. Now it is lower than what it was the last time that I did a budgeting video. I had to use $100 of it. I rent a suite in a basement, and the people who own the house have decided to sell the house, and the odds are very, very high that whoever purchases the house is then going to tear it down and do like a new development thing on the property, because the people that own this house also own the house next door, and they're both for sale. So probably some company's going to come in, buy both, tear them down, build one larger multi-unit place that people can rent out of. And so the people that rent within this house and the people that rent within the next door neighbor's house are now homeless. So great. But the thing is, like, it's all at like the beginning stages, so there's no dates for anything yet. Like the for sale sign is on the corner, and they're coming in on Wednesday to take pictures of the inside for like the real estate website, I guess. And then from there, I don't know, they're gonna have viewings on weekends, and we just sort of have to roll with it and see. Now, I mean, if whoever buys it actually buys it as rental property and just keeps us all in it, great, not upset about that at all. But also, I don't believe that that's going to happen, because what are the odds of that happening? So I spent $100 to buy crates for packing, which may sound ridiculous, but the last time I moved, I used a company called Frogbox, and they give you, well, they don't give you, you pay for these crates, these big, they come in two different sizes, green crates, to pack up all of your stuff in. And then I also got a moving company, and it just sort of made like the whole process a lot easier having those crates. But the thing is, you can't sort of slowly start packing well in advance, because as soon as you get the crates, you're paying for the crates. And when you book their service, you have to know when your moving date is, because they need to know these things. And I don't have a moving date yet, but I really wanted to get a head start on the packing, just because I might as well. If I know I have to go, I just might as well. So I was looking on Facebook Marketplace, and I found people selling the exact same type of crates, only in a different color. The Frogbox ones are green, and I was finding people selling the exact same crates but in red. And so they're not like stolen from the company or anything. They're just the same things from not Frogbox. And so I reached out to somebody who had a stack of 15 of them and was selling them for $10 a piece. And these are big crates, so $10 for these things is a really good deal. And bought 10 of them. So now I'm going to be able to start packing, although not immediately, because the person who is selling them is actually in Chilliwack, which according to Google Maps is roughly like 45-minute drive from where I live, but Google Maps lies, traffic is horrible, and there's constantly an accident on the stretch of highway in between me and them. So minimum is like an hour-and-a-half drive, and that's if I'm lucky. So I have a friend though who lives in Chilliwack, and who very nicely went and met up with the person. I e-transferred the $100. She went and bought the crates for me, so now they're in her garage, and I will see her at some point in November. So when I see her, I'll pick up the crates, and then I'll be able to start slowly packing up my place. And I find it less stressful if I'm just doing it a little bit at a time versus trying to cram all the packing into like 1 week. Because if you think about it, there's a lot of stuff that you can pack in advance. I mean, you'll be living a little bit more minimalist of a lifestyle, and maybe you don't have any of like your cute decorations up or the things that you like to look at that make you happy, but better that, in my opinion, than packing, like I said, all that up in 1 week and being exhausted from it all. So I'll start with packing like things that I use in summer, and like my sports, like my summer sports gear, summer clothes, and then like decorative things, because you know, like they're not necessities for life, they just make life happier. Okay, so I've subtracted out the buffer, half of rent, and my SUV payment, and now I'm doing the sell. And you can see I'm already down to $153.22, which is horrifying, because I still have many things, well, 2 things left to pay. So what I decided to do is the $97.71 for Neo, paying that, which is now leaving me, wait, 153.22 minus 97.71. Did I do math wrong in my rough draft? Oh, I hate when my numbers don't match my rough draft, because I never know where I've made a mistake. Okay, they matched up until like this point. So $11.29.94 minus $6.50 for rent, $479.94 minus $266.72 for my SUV payment leaves me with $213.22 minus $60, $153.22 minus $97.71, $55.51. Well, that's great, because when I did it in my rough draft, I had $37.71. So I should really double check my math more, like always. Okay, so $55.51 is where I'm sitting at. My minimum monthly payment for my line of credit is $409.56. And I very much want to make that at least 2 out of the 3 paychecks that I have in December, because in case you're new, my main budgeting goal, my only budgeting goal, is to pay off the line of credit. I started in August, it was at $25,000. I've got it significantly lower and I'm working my butt off, and I'm hoping that at the end of this month and the end of this billing cycle, I can have my minimum monthly payment be 300 and something. I don't care what, I just want it to be 300 and something. And I'm very much aiming, I don't know if I shared this with you guys yet or not, but I'm very much hoping that before the end of this year, I can have the balance down to under $20,000, and like safely under $20,000. So not like 19,999, and then once like the interest charges and the disability premiums go onto it, it bumps it back over to 20 grand. Like I want like comfortably into the 19,000s and somethings, even if it's just 19,000 and like 850. I don't know. I just want it under 20 grand. So that's like my goal for the end of this year. Now, is it going to be harder because I'm already going into the negatives with this? Yes, absolutely. 100% it is going to be. But that is just something I'm going to have to figure out. So once I take out the line of credit, $409.56, which let's just have a moment here to celebrate the fact that the line of credit payment is so much lower for the minimum monthly payment, because that's just a lovely thing to see. I think I'm going to start writing with the red for the negatives. So now my balance is negative $354.05, which is not good. Now, here's where the math juggling happens. I used my debit card on Friday to do grocery/household purchasing before doing the budget. So I didn't pull the money to make those payments, or to make that payment at Superstore, from the digital cash envelope. I just used my regular debit account, which is where like my paycheck went into, knowing that I would balance it all out. So my buffer, which is what pays for my like my cash envelopes, owes my checking account money because of that purchase. Does that make sense? That's how it makes sense to me. So I paid $93.19 to Superstore on Friday, and that money should have gone out from the cash envelope for the grocery category, but because I hadn't done that yet, I paid it out of here. So now the money from the buffer category, where like that money comes from, has to go back into this bank account to like balance it all out. Just roll with me here. So I'm putting back into this account $93.90. And I'm just going to put from buffer. So now I'm negative $260.86. So when I originally did this, because I had a different number, so I was like negative $278.66, and I moved over from the buffer money to fix that. Now I'm going to write out the buffer stuff over here first, and then I will show you what I do. I don't know, it gets a little bit messy. It's even messy on the rough draft, but just try to bear with me here and have some patience for how my brain calculates things. I want to post a note really quickly. I'm just going to put a note that the buffer paid $100 for moving crates. I'm going to stick it on here somewhere later. I just want to have that as a reminder to myself if I'm going over things later and I'm trying to figure out why my buffer was a lower starting point. So the buffer has $1,353.66 minus $176. That's my sinking funds. $93.19. To checking account for Superstore is what that says. Bringing it down to $1,084.47. Okay, and then I have to subtract from there cash envelopes. So my cash envelopes, $193.19. That's leaving me with $891.28, and then I'm going to take out of there $300, leaving me with $591.28, and that's going to checkings. That's very messily written to fix the negative. So that's leaving me $39.14 in the account, which is not a lot, but it's been worse. And I'm just gonna leave it like that. I'm trying to think. My service charges that went through for October for this account, I think they were like $16, and they tend to go through the end of the month anyways, so they shouldn't be going through and pulling out of this money. So I think I will be okay with that. And I'm just gonna quickly write out the cash envelopes and the sinking funds. Okay, so Striker, as always, gets $32.50. Groceries is getting $26.81. So normally it gets $120, but $93.19 of it has already been spent. So it's only getting the leftover, the $26.81 put in there. Now I do have money that's rolling over, so like it's already sitting in my grocery account. I have $76.44 in there, and I do have a gift card that I was gifted. It's for Safeway, or like Safeway affiliated, so I think Sobeys and Save on Foods and places like that. I tend to use it at Safeway, so I do have that to help cover if I need it. Hopefully I won't. I'm gonna try to pull back on like my grocery expenses, but yes, so that's why it's such a strange number. Miscellaneous is getting $32.38, which is also a weird number, but that's because my miscellaneous category is in the negatives by $32.38. I was hoping with this paycheck to be able to not only get it out of the negative, but to like fund it again. I like to put $30 into it, but I don't have that kind of money right now. So I just want to pay enough to get it out of the negative so that I'm not technically pulling from other categories to like cover that negative balance. But it does mean that my miscellaneous is going to be getting funded up to zero. So I need to be very careful for the next 2 weeks with my spending because I do not have any money in this category to pay for anything. Fun is getting $30, and this is also a little bit problematic because my fun category is technically negative $14.10. I know. So this will be taking it out of the negative but not fully funding it, so that's not even enough to cover brunch, and I usually do brunch every week with a friend of mine, so I'm gonna have to figure something out. I don't know what yet, but it's a problem for future me. Physio gets, oh, what on my pen there, $31.50. I can't change that. I have multiple physio appointments every week because of dealing with injuries from the car accident, and one of them is massage therapy, and that's the only one that I actually have to pay anything up front. So it's like $15.25, 75 cents, whatever 31.50 divided by 2 is what it costs me every week. And it's it got explained to me one time, and I don't really remember what they said. I think it's for like the sanitizing of the space in between clients. It's like an office type fee, and so if the insurance company doesn't cover it, I have to pay for it. But it's fine because at the end of the year I'll get the statement from the physio office for all of like how much I've spent, and then I'll be able to like submit that when I do my taxes, and I'll get it reimbursed, so it's fine. It just kind of sucks like in the moment, but I know that I'll get it all back. And Transpo is getting $40, which is its normal. Oh good, why can I not use this well today? 26.81. So $193.19, which is right there, cash envelopes. Oh, my pen is starting to skip quite a bit. Sinking funds. Now this one I didn't actually like write out neatly to be able to pull from, so let me see if I can find. I just like to have them in the same order, you know. Okay, so SUV insurance, tenant insurance, tech, dragon boat, travel, so my apologies for the page flipping. Okay, you'd think I'd know. I know some of these numbers, I just don't want to mess them up. So $67, oops, 14, so $67 for the SUV insurance, $14 for the tenant insurance, $15 for the tech. So that is a combination of my Norton antivirus, my Microsoft 365, and my WordPress account. So they each, one of those categories gets $5 every paycheck, and then theoretically I have enough money each time one of the bills is due to pay them off. I say theoretically, it's always worked up until now, but I'm a little bit worried it's not going to work this time. But yeah, so I only have so many savings accounts that I can get with my bank, and those are what I use to hold my sinking fund money in, because that way they're also earning the tiniest, barest amount of insurance, but at least like they're there. So I just lumped those three into one category, the tech category. Currently, dragon boating is getting no money. Travel, what did I give travel? $40. Presents gets $20. And my emergency fund is getting $20. So it's $176. Right there, $176. Had to find it. Okay, so, okay, good. Just making sure this was still on screen. So that is the budget. It's not pretty, but it did work, but it's not pretty. I'm aware it's not pretty. Just gonna put that there as a reminder, and I'll put this note back with its previous one with just like a done. Okay, so that is the budget. Everything is paid. All of the bills are done. Well, I mean, I have to actually go in and physically transfer the money after I'm done this video, but everything is paid. The buffer has done its purpose of paying the cash envelopes, the sinking fund, the random extra charge that I had for buying those packing crates. And it also covered where this went into a negative. So it concerns me that this went into a negative, because it hadn't done for the last couple paychecks. And I pull out striker's money and the buffer money and things like that, and it had worked. So my paychecks haven't changed. I'm not sure what happened. I knew it was going to happen eventually. I guess I was just hoping that it would happen a little bit later from now. The Neo bill will go down, so that will help things, that's for sure. And we just need to, I say we, it's me, it's only me here, but I don't know, I always end up using like the royal we, but I just have to keep plugging away, get that line of credit down. In a perfect world, I would still be paying, like, say, like the previous minimum payment sort of a thing, because then like the more I can pay off every paycheck, the faster I get the debt paid off. I understand that, but my goal right now is to just try at every paycheck to pay off whatever the current minimum balance is, so that within every month I'm paying double. This month it will be triple whatever that minimum balance is, because that's making a nice strong headway into paying off the debt. As the balance gets lower, hopefully other things, you know, like how the Neo bill won't be so high, and maybe I can't get a part-time job right now. In case you're just like, go get another job to bring in more income. It's because of the concussion, I'm limited to what I can do. So maybe like once eventually the concussion has like healed to a point where I can get a part-time job, and then I have more income coming in, I can make even larger of a payment on it. I don't know, like I want to be paying it off as fast as possible, but I also have to work within like the limits that I have. So this month, as long as I can manage to pay off the minimum payment twice, even if it means like next paycheck and then paycheck after, because there's 3 paychecks this month, maybe I only pay half of the minimum payment on each one, and then over the span of the month I've paid it twice. I don't know, like that's not really how I want to do it, but I'm gonna have to see what the budget is like when I sit down and do it next payday. So for now, this is what we are working with. I realized just the other day that I'm gonna have to start saving money to go towards moving expenses, because I mean, I bought the crates and I used the buffer for that, but there's going to be packing materials, there's going to be like a moving company, there's going to be a deposit for like a new place when I find somewhere to move to, all of those expenses, and was not anticipating any of them. It really sucks when you have to move because somebody else has decided it for you, because if I was thinking like, oh, you know, I think I want to move, I would start saving up for it so that when I decided to put it into action, I had the money. But when somebody else decides for you, I don't know, unless you just have a lot of money sitting around, it kind of leaves you scrambling a little bit, which is unfortunate. So I need to use the time that I have before the sale goes through and we have an official "you are kicked out by this date" to save money and slowly acquire like packing tape and just packing materials is what I'm thinking about right now, and figuring out all the rest of the logistics of it. But yes, that is something I've got to be plotting off on the side, I think. Not part of this video, so sorry I started talking about that. Thank you very much for sitting through this budgeting video with me. If you have any tips or suggestions, I'm always open to them. I know a couple people have left comments about velocity banking, I think they called it. I did look it up. It doesn't really seem like something that applies to me though. And somebody did leave a comment on the video that I did where I was showing my 2025 planner, asking if I know about Dave Ramsey and the snowball. And I do know about him. He's an American guy, and I know a lot of the American budgeters that I follow Dave Ramsey either completely or to some degree. Totally get it. But unfortunately the snowball doesn't work for me, because the snowball means you have like multiple things that you're paying debt off, and so you're focusing on like the one that's either like, I think it's like the lowest balance, and paying that one off aggressively, and everything else gets minimum payments. And then once that low one is done, the money that you were putting as payments to that, you're now snowballing into the next highest one and combining that with the minimum payments on that one, and then snowballing your way through the debts. And it sounds like a great system, but my debt is all on one card. My debt is completely on the line of credit. I have nothing to snowball. It's all really just focusing on paying off the line of credit, getting it done. When I make a payment on the Visa, it's because I've made charges on the Visa within this pay period and I'm paying off what I just purchased. And the same thing with the Neo. When I make payments on the Neos, those don't carry balances. Those don't have anything that I can like pay off and then snowball that money onto the line of credit. The line of credit is my debt. It is the one thing to focus, and I don't know of any other way to pay it off quickly other than just making the biggest payments on it that I can and not charging anything to it. So it may end up going into a snowball effect if I have to use the Visa card, say for moving expenses. That might be a thing. So let's hold on and see what happens with that. But for now, I think the system that I have is the one that's going to work the best. But if you see something that you think could be better, I honestly didn't understand the velocity banking stuff when I was looking at it, so maybe I just misunderstood it and it does apply to me. I couldn't tell you. I got very confused by it. But now that I've rambled, again, I think I've started saying goodbye to you 3 times at this point. I'm so sorry. Thank you so much for sitting through my budgeting video. I very much appreciate it. Any tips or suggestions are always welcome. Any comments, always welcome, honestly. I hope wherever you are with your budget, whatever your primary goals are with it, you're accomplishing them and you're doing well and everything is going great. I wish all of us good luck with the budget, is basically what I'm thinking on that. So thank you again. I will talk to you in the next video. Stay safe out there. Bye.